Welcome in, everybody. This is your self-care staffing for Monday, May 18th, 2020. I am Lou Pascal. I'm the school social worker in the Manchester City Schools in Manchester, Tennessee. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend and that your Monday is off to a great start. Today, I want to talk about the concepts of safety and risk as possible components of your self-care practice. So, if you are more of a risk taker, it might be the case that it would be beneficial to incorporate some safety in your life as a self-care practice. On the other hand, if you are overall more comfortable with safety, it might be beneficial for you to give something new a chance or engage in some risk. Now, I am talking about limited risk, calculated risk. Don't hurt yourself. Don't bankrupt yourself. I'm especially talking about taking a risk if it involves betting on yourself. Are there people in the world who have taken a big risk, taken a big leap, sacrificed possibly everything and had success? Yes, that has occurred. I'm particularly talking about small risk that still allows you to practice some self-care and protect things that are really important to you. However, I can acknowledge that there are people who put everything on the line, take a big risk, possibly jeopardize everything, and have really wonderful dividends from that choice. So, if you are more of a risk taker, how could you implement some safety into your life? Now, let me say, I'm not a financial planner, attorney, accountant, fitness trainer, registered dietitian, physician. I'm not any of those things. So, as you're thinking about this, think about getting that professional advice as a first step before you pursue any of these options. And this is a very personal process for you to decide if you're more safety oriented or risk oriented, and then do that evaluation of possible choices you could make to go a little bit in the other direction. So I don't want to be prescriptive and say, if you're a safety person, you should do X. If you're a risk person, you should do Y. That's not what this is. This is just to this is a springboard to kind of get you thinking. So if you are more safety oriented, risks that you could take could be, you could take a professional risk. You could reach out to some new contacts to sort of try to diversify your network a little bit. That's a risk because people don't always reciprocate. It could be, you could take on a public speaking commitment if that is usually something that doesn't feel comfortable for you. That would be a risk. In a personal sense, you could maybe go to a meetup around an interest of yours and try to meet some new people, make some new friends. That's risky because you're sort of putting yourself out there. But those are all examples of sort of risks if you're usually more safety based. And the choices there could be endless. If you are more of a risk taker, some choices that you can make to integrate some safety into your life. Financially, you could put together an emergency fund. So if your finances are sort of chaotic and you use most of your money every month to make ends meet, because that's what it takes, but you maybe have a little bit left every month, you might put that little bit that's left over into an emergency fund, do that for a few months in a row, and then you've got a small pile of money there so that as you're maintaining your life and that car repair comes up, it's not catastrophic because you can go to your emergency fund and kind of keep on trucking with everything else you're trying to accomplish. Another financial practice, if you are not sort of a structured person who sits down at regular intervals to reconcile your bank account, you might enroll in like an auto pay program, And then that way, even if you don't sit down at a regular interval, everything's still getting paid. You just haven't written it all down or put it all in your financial program that you use to manage your money. In the physical realm, if you are involved in a sport or there's some sort of physical pursuit in your life, there's always protective equipment that you can use to protect your body as you pursue that. So helmets, any number of types of equipment that can protect your body. This can even apply to a spiritual or emotional realm. So maybe you sort of do an evaluation of the people in your life and sort of determine who the people are that it is safe for you to disclose different things about your life. Everybody doesn't fall into that category. So if you're used to taking risk and just telling everything to everybody all the time, you might want to do that evaluation and identify those people that are safe, that can know a whole lot more about your life and can be trusted with that information. So those are some examples. So I have several self-care check-in questions for you today. Number 1, are you more prone to play it safe or take risks? What is a safe choice you can make to practice self-care in your life? What is a risk that you could take to practice self-care in your life? For me, I'm definitely more prone to play it safe. So safe choices that I make on a regular basis usually are around new routines that I want to implement, new practices that I want to make a regular part of my life to enhance my health usually. So I know I talked in another video, I think I called it linking in another video, but really what I'm talking about is called habit stacking. Habit stacking is from a book by James Clear called Atomic Habits. And he says that this is a way to build new habits in your life, is to take the new habit and stack it on top of an established habit. So I described how I did that with flossing. Wanted to start flossing, so I linked it or stacked it with my evening bedtime routine. So I was already brushing my teeth every night. I was already brushing out my retainer or mouth guard that I wear every night when I sleep. So I just added flossing to that. While I was doing all those things, I went ahead and did my flossing at that time. And now I floss every single day. Same thing with meditation. When I wanted to start meditating, I stacked it with my exercise. So I do my exercise usually in the morning, and then while I'm there, I'd go right into my meditation after my exercise routine is finished. So those are some examples of how I make safe choices. For me, again, risk is not my default. So here's an example of a risk that I took recently and how I can expand on that. I had the opportunity to write a blog post for a national blog during the school closure. I have a couple of ideas of other places I could submit writing to get published, and that would be somewhat of a risk because you put your work out there and people can respond in whatever way they deem appropriate. So that feels a little bit vulnerable because you're putting your thoughts out there for someone to make a judgment about whether they're going to publish it or not. So that is a way that I took a risk when I wrote that blog post, and a way that I can continue that practice. So I have a few quotes for you today. The first one: the biggest danger of all, the biggest risk to you by far, is doing nothing, because inaction is a risk. That was Amanda Steinberg, and the book is called Worth It: Your Life, Your Money, Your Terms. And I think that's an important point. I'm not sure I feel like it's the biggest danger of all, but it definitely is a risk. So if you have yourself in sort of this duality of, I'm either going to make this choice and implement this, or I don't know what to do, so I'm going to wait. I think what she's drawing attention to is that waiting can also be a risk. Sometimes doing nothing feels safe, but sometimes that can be a risk too. So I think that's an important point. Another quote: when the world feels like an emotional roller coaster, steady yourself with simple rituals. Do the dishes, fold the laundry, water the plants. So that's a way to implement some safety into your life, is some simple rituals. And that was Waylon Lewis. And I think I found that quote on Pinterest, but maybe it was originally from an Instagram post. And then the last one is: it is okay to be happy with a calm life. And that one was also from Pinterest. So, what I want to leave with you today, I have 3 songs for you today. The first one, Chasing That Neon Rainbow by Alan Jackson. That is about him taking a risk in his musical career. The next one, Keep Your Head Up by Andy Grammer. That is sort of more along, I would say, the safety line. Stay encouraged, keep going, sort of to help you with persistence. And the last one is also Alan Jackson. It's called Someday. So those are the songs that I'm going to leave with you today. The video I want to leave with you is a clip from the new Little Women. If you have not seen it and you're a Little Woman person, man, woman, it's wonderful. I don't think it's necessarily a girl's movie or a women's movie. I really liked the new Little Women. And the clip is the 2 older sisters, Jo and Meg. Also read the book. Might want to read the book before you watch the movie. There have been many, many movie adaptations. The book is fantastic. Some of the movies are fantastic. Little Women. Big Little Women fan from way on back. So it's Jo and Meg before the wedding. Meg is the oldest sister. She's going to get married. Jo is patterned after Louisa May Alcott, who is the author of Little Women. And she's a writer, and she's had some love interests, but she really thinks that she wants to be single. And so they're having this discussion, and it's a good clip. And I think it highlights what some people would call the safer life and what some would see as risky. So very excited that I found a way to work Little Women into the self-care staffing. So as we wrap up for today, please subscribe on YouTube if you want to continue to be aware of when I publish new content. And if all hearts and minds are clear, I will see you all again tomorrow.